So today I'm making this video um, because there's a series of races coming up, including the Swamp Stomp Half Marathon, as well as the Rougarou 20, 40, 60, 100-mile race. Some people these next couple weekends are doing some new distances, some bigger, longer distances they've never done before, and this video is for them. I'm Nick Cronin with Lafitte Running, and today we're going to learn on how to eat an elephant. There's a thing that I always get a question is just like, how do you run blank? How do you run half marathon? How do you run a marathon? How do you run an ultra marathon? How do you run 100 miles? How do you get that distance that's just so huge in your brain you can't really piece it together? And that is true because a lot of times what happens is, like, let's say every time I run, like, one of my favorite distances is the 100K, 60 miles, and you're a mile 20 and you're starting to feel tired. Anybody who's run 20 miles knows you can't escape that feeling. Your legs are starting to burn, you're starting to get fatigued, maybe you have a little nausea, maybe you have a little just kind of just dragging a little bit, maybe you're a little dehydrated, what have you. Your brain starts thinking, I got to do this for another 40 miles. I got to carry on. I've only done a third of the race. I got to carry on for longer and longer distances. I'll never be able to finish this. You start thinking on those long terms. It can even happen on like a half marathon. You're on mile 5. Mile 5 on a half marathon is not that far. You still have somewhat like 8 miles to go. That's a huge amount of time and distance to go. How do you do it? And the trick is to not think about it. There's the joke, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. You don't try to wrap your head around this huge distance that's coming up. You don't try to wrap your mind around what's about to happen. Instead, narrow your focus. There's an old joke with ultra running where you don't run. Not a joke, it's a saying, it's not funny. But it's an old saying with ultra running, you don't run 100 miles, you run from tree to tree. While you're doing these races, while you're doing these distances you've never thought you could do, you're not sure if you'll make it, narrow your focus to something a lot more manageable. Whenever I'm running a bigger distance, even if I'm running something I've run before, I narrow it down to aid station to aid station. Usually in ultras, aid stations are every 4 miles. You can run 4 miles. I can always wrap my head around running 4 miles. Even if I am beat down, exhausted, I can make it another 4 miles. So whenever you're running like the Rougarou this coming weekend, don't worry too much about running the whole distance. Worry about getting to the next aid station. When you get to that aid station, okay, I'm on mile 16 of the 40-mile race. Cool. I don't have to run whatever 40 minus 16 is. Let's say it's 30 something. I don't have to run 30 something miles. All I have to do is run 4 miles. With that thought in mind, you can get started. You can manage that. What about the next? Like, I don't know if I can make the next 40 miles. What do I do? That's future use problem. Forget that guy. Who cares? That's future use problem. Let him deal with it when it comes around. Let her deal with it whenever it happens. Let the future self deal with the problems that come with that. Break it down to just small, manageable bites. So if you're running the Swamp Stomp in 2 weeks and you're running the half marathon and you're going, okay, I'm just going to run the next 2 miles. What happens after that? Not my problem. I'm just running 2 miles. And then when you get to the thing, now I'm just running the next 2 miles. Break it down into chunks you can deal with. And relax into that. I know I can run 2 miles. Can I run 8 miles after that? Doesn't matter. I can run 2 miles. Break them down into chunks that you can deal with. So these next coming races, you're doing a distance you've never done before and you're a little uncertain about that. Cool. Just remember, you're not running the distance you're running. You're only running these little manageable chunks over time. Eat that elephant one bite at a time. I'm Nick running with Lafitte Running. I hope everybody has a great race. I will be at the Rougarou running the 20 mile this coming weekend, so I hope to see some of y'all there. Anyway, I will talk to y'all soon.